healthy, and I'll stand by. I don't think AVT is injury prone. I think that's a mischaracterization. I think he's had excruciating bad luck injuries back to back years. Like, there's not really much you can do. A lot of guys tear their Achilles now on these playing surfaces. A lot of guys, offensive linemen especially, tear their triceps, which is what he had 2 years ago. I don't really think he's injury prone. I think he's just had really bad luck. I guess we'll get the answer to that next year. He's not. My point is, right? Like, Becton always is dealing with something that is injury prone. And a lot of it is probably because of his weight. And this is going back to year one. This isn't, but Becton is always dealing with something, even when it's not a season ending injury, a sprained ankle or a sore knee, or like AVT. It's like you snap your fingers and he's down for the year. It's not like AVT's playing through something again. No, when he plays, he's literally a dominant, healthy player. So I wonder if that gives you a luxury going into the draft to take a guy that's played on the right side, because you think, okay, well, we'll just play AVT on what, or we could take a guy that played on the left side because AVT could play on the right side. I don't know. And that's something they're going to have to figure out. But Fuaga fits the identity to me that they need of a dominant run blocking force that isn't like, it's not like he's Becton where he's 380, 390, 400. He's 335. He's 6'6". So he's just a massive human being. He started for 2 years, so you feel like you could start him next year. I don't think he's perfect in pass pro, and a lot of these guys aren't, to be honest with you. Like, the only guy that is probably Fashanu. Even Alt 6'9". He's gonna lose the leverage game as a rookie in the NFL at times. It's just a part of the learning curve. So yeah, Fuaga would be my guy here. My last checklist for him is how he tests, because I don't know if he's a great athlete. He might be. It's just one of those things you'd like to confirm. The tape is phenomenal. The Jets need an offensive lineman. He warrants being a top 12 pick to me. So I would be pretty happy if I was in this spot as a Jets fan, honestly. Like, we'll get into the podcast, the difference of winning and losing. I'm not an idiot. I would love Marvin Harrison Jr. or Joe Ald or Olu Fashanu, but it's not like when they played themselves out of Trevor Lawrence, like that drop off. It's not the same thing.
The way you're talking about it seems like the logical way to go about it on the offensive line, because I think we both agree that Becton's gone. I don't think he's going to be back next year in any shape or form. I think both sides are ready for a break. I could absolutely see them drafting one of the two guys you outlined to play right tackle, and then trying to sign Bakhtiari to be their left tackle, and being like, this will be our new Dwayne Brown, 1 year, 2 year Band-Aid. We'll keep Carter Warren as like the swing backup. And there's a lot of problems with going about it in that way, because you need a real backup for Bakhtiari, because you have to assume he's going to be hurt and miss most of the year for obvious reasons. I just feel like that's how they're going to think about it. Whereas AVT, put him at the highest impact position. And this actually rolls into two very interesting questions we got, both kind of about AVT and the offensive line. This one from Jimbo. I remember before drafting AVT, Connor compared him to David DeCastro. I know we haven't seen much of AVT lately due to injury, but do you think that comparison turned out to be true, injuries aside? That's one that, has stuck with me too. I feel like, if anything, like AVT's even been like, when he's been right, because of the versatility, the ceiling is even higher, but man, the injuries just muddle everything. But how do you feel about that comparison after a few years of AVT in the NFL now?
Pretty good, honestly. I think AVT, man, I feel pretty good about that. Like, you just look at the Jets, the difference in their run game with and without him, it tells the whole story, honestly. The thing with AVT, and I want to go back to the comparison as well with DeCastro as I pull up his mock draftable. Yeah, this is what I thought. DeCastro was a 98th percentile 3-cone, an 85th percentile short shuttle. Like, the explosive and lateral agility, what that does in your run game, those guys are going to get places that 4% of linemen in the league, I might be high-barring that, can get to. And what I mean by that is the kind of athletic runs you can create for a back like Brees, that Brees is going to get to his spot quicker than 99% of running backs in the league. AVT is going to get to his assignment quicker than 99% of guards or tackles in the league. So what that creates is zone blocking that is lethal. Like, the amount of space at the second level with a gifted second level runner is insane. And the drop off from an athlete like AVT to a typical NFL backup, it's you can't, overstate that. That's the thing. So yeah, I do feel good about the comp. I think the player's been phenomenal. I think he's run into some bad luck, but he's been absolutely phenomenal. It's not like one of those situations where, well, we can't evaluate him because he's never healthy. It's like, well, when he plays, I really think he's a top 5 guard in football.
He's had success, like all pro caliber success
Yeah.
at guard, and even flashes of being very good at tackle. We just got to see him stay healthy. The Jets badly need him healthy next year because you can only replace so many starters on the offensive line in one off season. And at a minimum, the Jets need 2. If it has to get to 3, they're screwed. It's just you can't do that much in one off season at one position. Last question, then we're going to jump to the pod, which is going to be a little more on talking Washington, Cleveland, and some of the other questions we got about the coaching staff and Woody's proclamation to the New York Post and some other rumblings that they're not going to make any changes to the offensive staff, which is a whole different conversation. This one, how much of Becton's struggles and lack of development are to be blamed on Carter versus Becton just not being good / injuries? I think I blame Keith Carter for a lot of stuff. It was a bad hire along with Downing from the moment they made it. It seems like the players in Tennessee didn't love him. It seems like from some Twitter likes, the players in New York don't love him. It seems like there's a recurring thing here with injuries and being overworked in practice, but I can't put the Becton stuff on him because Becton's had a couple of years here prior to him being here. And I think of why you're seeing Becton fade down the stretch. And some of this is a credit to him. Like, he is working as hard as he can to play through like nagging injuries, but at his size and with his style of game, if he is not right and doesn't trust his body, he's just not a starting NFL tackle. Like, for him to be a starting NFL tackle, he's got to be right and confident in his legs and his like drive. And if he can't do that, he's just a liability in pass protection. And it seems like it snowballs on him a little bit when he's having a bad game. And the penalties and the pass pro these past few weeks have been pretty unplayable. And I think it's not a mistake that a guy like Samini is leaking that both sides like are ready to move on from each other. Like, that doesn't get out there by accident. That's the Jets coaching staff being like, let's be very clear. Like, we're not giving this guy another contract, and like, we're not using our franchise tag on him. And I'm sure Becton's side is fine with that too. They were very forward with what they released to Newsday before the season started. And I'm glad he's gotten to play a lot this year because I do think he will get a contract somewhere. I just think it's ran its course here for better or worse. Final thoughts